Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast, your go-to source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We hope you tune in often for all things people management, organizational development and change, organizational leadership, and social impact related. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with Human Capital Innovations Podcast. Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. In this HCI podcast episode, HCI Research Associate Dr. Maureen Andrade talks about leadership and practice through the example of Sir Ernest Shackleton. How many people would volunteer for a job with low wages, constant danger, and doubtful success? More than you would think. Of the 5,000 who applied for a job posting with this description, only 27 were selected. This podcast provides an analysis of the leadership skills of Sir Ernest Shackleton, a British explorer who led expeditions to Antarctica in the early 1900s. While we can analyze his leadership through the perspectives of different leadership theories, what we learn from this case is that Shackleton had a combination of traits, behaviors, and skills. He was able to respond to situations and uplift others. He changed his goal from being the first to cross the subcontinent of Antarctica to saving the lives of each of his crew. And as he put it, strength lies in unity.
One of my favorite real-life examples of leadership in practice is the story of British explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton. The story goes that in 1914, he put an ad in the paper to form a crew for his trans-Antarctic expeditions. It read, "Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success." That sounds completely intriguing to me. It was a different world back then, a very brave and adventurous world. Shackleton selected 27 men out of 5,000 applicants who responded to this advertisement. Shortly after leaving the whaling station on South Georgia Island, their ship, the Endeavour, got stuck in ice. They waited for the spring thaw, hoping the ship would be freed, and hunted seals and penguins to supplement their food supply. Shackleton focused on sustaining morale by involving the men in games and activities, encouraging them to care for each other, and being open and transparent. His motto was, "Strength lies in unity." He conveyed this in his actions and his example. His goal changed from being the first to cross the Atlantic to save every life. After 10 months of waiting, the ice started shifting and began to crush the ship. The men had to abandon the ship and camp on the ice. The ship was smashed to pieces and sunk. There was no chance of rescue. The crew made several failed attempts to cross the ice to a supply station. Finally, since the ice they were camped on was breaking up, they embarked to the open sea in 3 lifeboats and made it to Elephant Island, but they were low on supplies. Their lives were in danger. Shackleton took a few men and made an 800-mile journey across the sea to South Georgia. If their navigation calculations were off by even half a degree, he and his small crew would miss the island entirely. They landed on the island but were 22 miles from the whaling station. To reach the station, they had to trek across dangerous mountain terrain filled with crevices and steep ascents, a journey no one had previously taken. Shackleton made it to the station where he immediately made plans to rescue his men. 128 days after he had left them on Elephant Island, he returned. As the ship approached, Shackleton called out, "Are you all well?" The reply was, "All safe, all well." Shackleton had met his goal to save every life. An analysis of the details of the story, which we don't have time for in this podcast, reveals a number of elements of different leadership theories or categories of theories. For example, we can see aspects of the great man or trait theories, which believe that leadership is inherent and some people are born to lead, and it focuses on people's qualities and characteristics. So in this case, Shackleton was honest, he was optimistic, he understood other people's emotions and needs, which today we would call emotional intelligence. The behavioral category of leadership theories assumes that people can be trained to be leaders and that leaders have right behaviors. It focuses on people-oriented behaviors and task-oriented behaviors. So in the case of Shackleton, he had determined and executed a vision, created a positive atmosphere, he kept up morale. Those were some of his people-oriented behaviors. He established routines and tasks. So he had some aspects of that theory as well. Then if we look at contingency theory, it assumes there's no best way to organize or to lead an organization or to make decisions, but the best course of action depends on the situation and the effectiveness of leadership in certain conditions. So we can obviously see in Shackleton's case that much of what he did was determined by the situation, when his ship was stuck in ice and so forth. So he used caution in pursuing his goal. He demonstrated realism. He showed resiliency. He had technical ability, and he showed flexibility. So when unanticipated events occurred, he was able to determine the best course of action. Next, we look at transactional. Transactional leadership theories focus on supervision and management, rewards, and punishment. Leaders maintain rules and procedures, and employee roles are clear. So in this case, Shackleton delegated effectively, and he established clear routines and tasks for his crew. And then the last one we'll talk about is transformational. So in transformational theory, leaders motivate and inspire. They have high ethical and moral standards. They focus on others and helping others achieve their potential, and they inspire positive change. So in this case, once again, Shackleton, he had a vision. He prioritized the needs of his crew and their well-being. He focused on teamwork and unity. He served others. He served his crew. He used participative decision-making. He inspired confidence and loyalty, and he kept up morale. Shackleton led 3 expeditions to the Antarctic. In spite of his admirable leadership skills, however, he did not reach his initial goal, which was to be the first person to cross the subcontinent of Antarctica. He did, however, achieve much more. He literally saved the lives of every one of his crew members, even though his advertisement said safe return, doubtful. And he earned the respect of every crew member. That is quite rare in leadership today. When crossing the Antarctic became impossible, he changed his goal to saving the lives of his crew. One takeaway from this case, among many, illustrates that although we can gain insights into specific theories or categories, leaders don't necessarily fit into a category or adopt a particular style. They lead. They know what to do and how to do it. They put others' needs before their own. They can change directions if needed. Oh, and there's a new movie coming out about Shackleton in 2021, so be sure to watch it.
Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. I hope you stay healthy and safe and that you have a great week.